The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to another fantastic episode of the Twin Toros podcast. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calvillo, my partner in crime, the president of Houston Sports, Nick Stevenson. OG, what's going on?
What's going on, man? I'm feeling good. I was sick last week, so we'll put the blame on me for us not doing the show. But I'm feeling good now, man. Ready to talk about the Houston Texans, man. I'm excited about Houston sports altogether, man. But, man, anytime we can get together and talk about our favorite NFL football team, you know I'm tickled pink, baby. So let's get into it. Hey, this is episode 48, by the way.
So this is episode 48. So is this the Christian Harris episode?
Christian Harris episode.
Man,
I can't think of a better 48
Are there any other number 48s?
I'm sure there has. I was just looking at it the other day.
Okay.
Give me a second. Here it is. We got Courtney Brown.
Wow. Courtney
2015.
Brown. Wow.
Yeah.
If you remember Courtney Brown, the Hard Knocks legend.
Absolutely. Brian Pittman wore 48.
Okay.
We got Joe Thomas and
Not
Nate
the Hall
Hall.
of Famer.
Yeah, and Nate Hall.
Well, all right. Well, hey, that's not a.
It's not a great. I would say Christian Harris so far is probably the best. Brian Pittman was one as well. But yeah, I'd say Christian Harris, even though injuries and all, man, his one bang up season that he did have was enough to put him at the top of that list, I say. So congratulations on episode number 48, man, with many more to come.
Yeah, and then I am excited for this season. I know Nick is too, as we get to our second year as the Twin Toros. OTAs have come and gone. Mandatory minicamp has come and gone, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
But first, we have some breaking news. The Houston Texans today. Now, this was first brought up by Aaron Wilson. The Texans are going to bring in free agent, former first rounder from the Raiders, cornerback Damon Arnette. Now, Arnette hasn't been in the NFL the last couple of years, has been with the USFL, playing with the Houston Roughnecks, has a troubled past, trying to get back in the NFL. He's a changed man, found God again. Excited to see what Damon Arnette can do on this Houston Texans team, but I'm not expecting him to, beat out Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure if he makes the 53-man roster. I'm just happy that someone is getting a second chance to do something that they love.
Yeah, it's a feel-good story, right? I mean, it's the off season, so there's not a whole lot going on. And I think it's really cool. It just shows us the type of man that DeMeco Ryans is. And I'll even shout out, Cal and Hannah McNair. They saw this young man playing over for the Roughnecks and wanted to give him a shot. And look, man, I mean, you could catch lightning in a bottle. Who knows? I'm not expecting that. But it's just a good feel-good story, man. And, maybe he can contribute on special teams. I just think it's really cool that he was playing here in Houston with the Roughnecks. He caught the eye of some people. I don't know if there's a coaching connection on the team already, somebody that he's played for, or if somebody on the Roughnecks coaching staff maybe reached out to the Texans and said, "Hey, give this dude a look." But it's a cool story, man. And anytime there's a feel-good story in football, I'm down for it.
Yeah, and if the Houston Texans can find something, from a Damon Arnette, then I don't care who you are. We can potentially get the very best out of you. And we've seen that before. Whenever players step into this building under head coach DeMeco Ryans, they get better. And from what we've seen from DeMeco Ryans, he's shown us time and time again that he not only cares about what the players do on Sunday, but Monday through Saturday also. He cares about the player under the uniform as well. So Damon Arnette, we wish you the very best, man. Happy you're getting another opportunity.
Yes, sir. And this is a brutal sport, man. I mean, you never know. Injuries, you may have an opportunity to take more snaps than we thought. Another depth move, you could say. I like everything the Texans are doing, man.
Yeah, one thing I like that they also did that we haven't able to fully discuss yet, and that was the Texans bringing in free agent running back Nick Chubb on a
Yeah.
1-year, $2.5 million deal. I was ecstatic when the news came out, and yes, ecstatic is the word that I used.
I
I
like
know
it.
Nick Chubb is not what he used to be, and by used, I mean one of the best running backs in the NFL.
Yes.
But if you get 70% of what Nick Chubb was, you got yourself a really good number two running back. My expectations from Nick Chubb, 4 to 500 yards. That's it.
Hmm.
That's about 150 more what Damian Pierce gave you last year. But if
Mhm.
you do get a healthy Nick Chubb, if you get that by a miracle, if
Yeah,
he defies all odds, watch out because the Houston Texans are going to have a dynamic 1-2 punch. They haven't had a dynamic RB1 and RB2 since Arian Foster and Ben Tate. So I am excited for this running back tandem. It has a lot of potential. They are up there in age, though. So I'm
sure.
excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think microscope goes on to Damian Pierce. Uh, does he put a chip on his shoulder and try to, you know, keep himself on this team or at
I
least a
think he
part of the
gone.
rotation? Say that again?
I think he's off the rotation.
Mhm.
I think he is your primary kick returner in 2025, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I believe he has 2 kick return touchdowns, and he has 4 or 5 different returns where he takes it to the 40, 50-yard line, giving the Houston Texans great field position. But the experiment of Damian Pierce has came and went.
yeah,
Now it's Woody Marks' turn also, who the Houston Texans selected late in the draft. And when you look at the type of offense that Nick Caley wants to run, you look at his history, the Los Angeles Rams, the New England Patriots, they got running backs that can catch the ball.
yeah,
That's what Woody Marks is.
for
Damian
sure.
Pierce, I love what he gave me the previous years as a running back, but now time to see you as our full-time kick returner. There's nothing wrong with being a kick returner. You get Pro Bowls for being one.
Yeah, when it comes to, 1st through 3rd down, I feel like he's probably the odd man out. But once again, this is a brutal sport, so you're adding more depth to a very important position. You and I, we've talked about this so many times, man. Like I'm excited to have Nick Chubb on this team, but this running game is going to go as far as this offensive line will take it.
Mhm.
And I'm sure I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about the offensive line we saw at OTAs, but I'm super excited about Nick Chubb. But is somebody going to block for him? Somebody going to create holes for him? And if they can do that, then I'm extremely excited about what this running game could look like. And then that's just going to open things up for CJ Stroud, who's got some brand new weapons to throw the ball to as well. So, but for me, uh, once again, I love everything the Texans have done, adding good football players, good character guys who work hard. Uh, Nothing wrong with that. Anytime you can bring that to your organization.
You bring up the offensive line, and I've said
Uh-oh.
this many times already.
Yeah.
I think the starting offensive line has been shown to us.
Hmm.
I think it's Cam Robinson at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Jake Andrews at center, Titus Howard at right guard, and Blake Fisher at right tackle. That was the first offensive line that was thrown out in OTAs and
Hmm.
mandatory mini camp. All I need him to do was throw it out there in the first group in training camp, and boom, it is solidified. That is the Houston Texans starting offensive line week 1. Your thoughts? Because the center position is interesting because we were not talking about Jake Andrews. We were talking about Jared Patterson and Juice Scruggs.
Yeah. I think that's what one of the first tweets I saw coming out of the OTAs and mini camps was about Jake Andrews lining up at center. No Drew Scruggs, no Jarrett Patterson. Uh, then we find out there's a coaching connection because Cole Popovich had coached him before at Troy. And
Mhm.
so I think one of two things. Listen, it's possible that he's in that position now because he knows what Cole Popovich wants to do. He understands the playbook, he understands the scheme. But if he can take that knowledge that he has and translate it into being more effective physically on the field, then 100% that's got to be your guy. And the center position is very important. I think we undersell sometimes how important that position is. The center has to know what everyone else on the offensive line is doing, He's the one calling audibles. He's the one changing protection schemes at times. So, and he's got to build some chemistry with the quarterback. So when you see Jake Andrews from day one, even though we'll get into it, CJ Stroud wasn't taking snaps at the very beginning of OTAs, but once they build that chemistry, it's going to be hard for, I feel like Juice Scruggs, Jared Patterson, you got to be behind the eight ball right now, don't you think?
Oh, 100%, especially when you have a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive line coach, and also Cole Popovich was given the running game coordinator job as well.
Yeah.
So you have to think that as soon as he got the reins, he was already thinking about who his offensive line was going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
You bring up CJ Stroud, and this was the talk for about 2 weeks. CJ Stroud did not throw during OTAs.
Mm.
No one knew why. It was a big deal.
Hmm.
It should have been a big deal. Whatever your quarterback does is going to be a big deal. But mandatory mini camp, day one, CJ Stroud goes out there, throws the football, has a great highlight on
Hmm.
day one where he just throws a beautiful deep ball on the left side of the field, and he connects with a rookie, Jaden Higgins, and it is a one-handed catch. In coverage was Kamari Lassiter, and Kamari Lassiter wasn't beat. He was right there.
Oh,
It
yeah.
had to take a perfect throw and a one-handed catch to be complete. And anything these wide receivers do, Nick, in training camp against the secondary, I'm gonna take like as bond, like a word,
Yeah,
like I'm gonna take it as
for
like
sure.
like a stamp of approval
Yeah.
because of how good this secondary is. But CJ Stroud, he's all right. He's throwing the football. He talked in front of the media, Nick, and I think this is where we saw, or not saw, but this is where I feel like he might have got hurt when he talked about all the work he did in the offseason and
Hmm.
how he hit every PR. And I'm like, okay, I feel like that's where he might have got hurt. Because if you PR on every single thing in the offseason, there's no days off.
Right.
They're straight grinding, right? The offseason has only been going on for what, 2 months now?
Technically, yes.
Technically, 2.5 months.
Yeah,
CJ has been grinding.
for sure.
My worries gone, Nick. A a deep sigh. Let's get to training camp.
Yeah, man. You and I talked about this quite a bit in other episodes. How after CJ's rookie season, he was out and about. He was doing the podcast. He was, going to all the all-star celebrity games, softball games, and it seemed
He was
like we didn't
in
really
the
hear much from
All-Star
him.
Celebrity Game.
Wait, say that one more time.
He was in the All-Star
Yeah,
Celebrity
yeah, the
Game.
all-star celebrity game. He went to the what was the softball game where he gave Amber Rose a ride home? It was
Yeah.
a trip, bro. So he was out there, and you and I, we're not necessarily saying that that was a problem and the reason he had that sophomore slump. But I know you and I both kind of want to just see him kind of put his head down and grind. And it sounds like that's what he was doing, man. Maybe he wants to take the shirt off a little bit more. Maybe when he gets in the hot tub with Kevin Hart, he don't want to get clowned like he was the first time. But he sounds like he was out there putting in the work, and he probably needs to, man, because I don't know if this offensive line is going to be able to protect him as well as we hope it will. So maybe he felt like I need to beef up. I need to put that work in. Hopefully, it doesn't change. At least what we've seen so far, it hasn't affected his ability to throw the ball. But I think, like I said, in the offseason, man, we will grab a hold of anything and run with it. And when CJ wasn't taking snaps, man, I mean, they had Trey Wingo was involved on ESPN
That
talking
was
about how is there not a problem. Look, man, when you're the franchise quarterback and the quarterback of the future for this team, everything's going to have a microscope on it. But it looks like it was all for naught. And hopefully, CJ Stroud is going to have the best season of his career so far. We'll find out.
and it goes back to what D'Amico Ryan said, like after he was like, "Oh, CJ threw today." There's no one that's gonna know more about this team than me.
Right.
You're absolutely right, D'Amico. You are the head coach.
Yeah.
So CJ Stroud of the not throwing saga. It came, it went. We're all ready to go once training camp starts. Because I heard that the Texans, not heard, but I saw from Aaron Wilson that the players report July 22nd.
I'm going to take your word on that because I have
Oh, you
not
haven't seen it
seen
yet?
what
Okay,
he
hold
said.
on, let me make sure.
Yeah, you go ahead
But
and look it up. while you're looking it up, I do want to shout out one person from the mini camp, and that is the future rookie Jaden Higgins. Listen, I don't want to make a direct comparison to this player, but when DeAndre Hopkins showed up to minicamp in his rookie season, it took all of about 5 seconds for you to realize as soon as he stepped on the field, this is going to be a dude. He's going to be that guy. He just looked like a pro immediately. And that's how I feel about Jaden Higgins. I'm not saying he's the same type of player, but when he steps on that field and you watch him run his routes, you watch that incredible catch you talked about, uh, he just looks like he's going to be a dude. And I don't think anybody's going to have to worry about whether or not that's going to be a good pick for the Houston Texans. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can add to this offense. But it just reminded me of DeAndre. DeAndre on day one, the first time I saw him with that practice uniform on, out there running routes and catching footballs, I was like, yeah, he's that dude. Wasn't even worried about it.
So from the tweet earlier, the Texans players report July 22nd,
Cool.
joint practices August 14th in Houston
Man, that is right around the corner, bro.
against the Carolina Panthers. The number one
Damn.
overall pick, Bryce Young, comes into the H.
And buddy of our quarterback, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, they're both buds, right? They both grew up in the IE.
And then August 21st,
Mm.
joint practice with the Lions, but this is in Michigan. So Texans, according to Aaron Wilson, report July 22nd. They
Okay.
have joint practice August 14th against the Carolina Panthers, and August 21st, joint practices against the Detroit Lions. So excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. They'll probably be glad to hit somebody that's not on their team. And the Lions are a good football team, man. So that'll be good test for them. Good practice. Hopefully nobody gets hurt because we need everybody on board for this 2025 season, man.
Dude, that's kind of why I'm very worried about, not very worried, but I want some sort of caution with some of our all pros, like with Stingley.
Yeah.
I know he's gonna probably want to be out there every single day. Let's put you on a pitch count, man. Like I want,
Yeah.
I want these star players, man, in bubble wrap because last year I
Knock
was like,
on
all
something
right,
right now.
huh?
Knock on something wood right now, please.
I'm not because last year I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. We got humbled last year, and now
Mhm.
this season, you're like, man, I really do feel like the Texans can surprise some people, Nick.
What do you feel about what Chris Sims said? Did you
Well,
see that?
that's exactly what I was gonna bring up.
Okay.
When I heard on the other big networks, who is going to be a threat to the Kansas City Chiefs? We heard the usual suspects, the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. They just got Jair Alexander today.
Mm.
The Buffalo Bills, MVP Josh Allen. And that's all they mentioned. Last year, the Texans were in that conversation, though. They were brought up as one of the teams that could have potentially dethroned Kansas City. And
Yep.
then the season went on, and we found out early that this Texans team was not what we thought it was.
Yep.
So this year, man, with no one believing in us, when I heard Matt Sims say, it would not surprise me if this Texans team is in the Super Bowl, it is kind of surprising to hear that because when you really look at this offense, Nick, everything has to go right. And I mean, Nick Caley had to be the right hire.
Right.
Cole Popovich had to be the right hire.
Mhm.
And all the work that they did on the offensive line had to be right. And not only that, you have the trade of Laramie Tunsil weighing over this entire offensive line this year. So
Yeah.
all those things have to go right in order for you to be in that quote unquote Super Bowl. And if that does happen, then the Super Bowl is the hardest thing to win.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And let's take what Chris Sims said with a grain of salt. Because first of all, let's just keep it real. He does not follow this football team on a regular basis.
Shout
And
out to the Sims family though. Shout out to
sure.
Matt Sims, my boy. He shows us some love. I have a funny story. Did an episode with him and was fortunate enough to get his contact. I told him, "Hey, man, so what's gonna happen if someone asks me who's the most famous person you contact? Can I say Matt Sims?" And then he's like, "Well, if you say Matt Sims, you have a problem." So shout out to Matt Sims.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But no, what Chris did qualify before he said that though, is he said that the Texans made a statement by basically getting rid of their entire offensive line,
Mhm.
that the problem was not CJ Stroud, it was the offensive line. And so I think he pre-qualified his statement. If the offensive line is fixed and CJ can be what we believe CJ is, then that's why he said he wouldn't be surprised if they make the Super Bowl. Um, I'm not gonna go as far as say make
No.
the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
but
no,
this
no.
team is going to be a contender if this offensive line does what we hope it's going to do, and that's protect CJ Stroud, that's run block effectively, and that's keep the offense on the field and let that defense hunt, get their 3 and outs, and then come and score touchdowns and score points. If they do that, then I think the Texans they are they have as good a chance as anybody to be competitive and a contender with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not going to say like you and I have both said we got to see it happen before we're going to predict it. But if the offensive line does its thing and these, let CJ throw to these wide receivers, all these new weapons he's got, we got running game on point. We know the defense is going to beast. It's possible. I'm not going to predict that it's going to happen though. I'm just saying it's possible.
I'm not going to predict it either, but if we start seeing this offensive line protect CJ Stroud much like they did in year 1, which goes back to, the point where we're not wanting a top 5 offensive line. We're not wanting a top 10 offensive line. Of course, it will be great to have those things,
Yes, I agree.
but if this is a middle of the pack offensive line,
Mhm.
we know what this defense is. It's Super Bowl caliber.
Sure.
And we've both said it. If you have this year's defense with last year's offense, you're probably talking about an AFC championship.
Yeah.
So,
This is what I'll say. They're gonna win a lot of games, and take that for what it will be. Win a lot of games, get to the playoffs, hopefully have a couple of home games. At that point, anything can happen. But if the offensive line is not fixed, I think we're gonna have another season where Houston Texans fans are just let down and disappointed about how good they felt like the Texans should be, and then what they ended up putting on the field.
well, then that goes to another conversation that I was having with Harley is we're not in the honeymoon no more. This is
True.
year 3 of D'Amico Ryans. It feels like year 5 or 6 of Nick Caserio. After this year, a lot of Houston Texans fans are going to sit down, look themselves in the mirror, and say, "Can we get it done with D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio leading this Houston Texans team?" This is a big year. This is the biggest year, for the Houston Texans as of late.
Yeah.
You got your quarterback in year 3. You're about to make a decision whether or not you're going to make CJ Stroud the highest paid quarterback in the NFL if he once again wins 10 games and gets the AFC South title. So there's a lot of writing on the wall. A lot of stuff is
Yeah.
going to be happening, but I can't wait to find out. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank everyone who was a part of this episode. It means the absolute world. The Christian Harris episode,
Yes,
per
sir.
se. But that was Nick Stevenson, the president of Houston Sports. I am Ruben Galavio. You can find me on YouTube, dropping daily Houston Texans content, 713 Houston Sportcast. For more Houston Texans content, just come back next week. We'll be here all year. Guys, do us a favor. Have a blessed night. We'll see y'all next time.
Night. Love you.